Billy Connolly said, "I've been made redundant before, and it's a terrible blow." Redundant is a rotten word because it makes you think you are useless. And in fact, if you look up the word redundancy in the Oxford English Dictionary, it says just that: the state of being not or no longer needed or useful. So it's no surprise then that clients come to me with this horrible, deep feeling of rejection. They feel utterly dispensable, replaceable, maybe even betrayed, and a real loss of identity at moments of redundancy, yet they're super smart, successful people. You go from being part of a team, feeling that you have social status, a job with a title, that sense of safety that comes with that income that tells you can pay your mortgage, your rent, your bills, support your family, and give you the freedom that you have for holidays and all those things we hold dear, to having 5 of the core fundamental human needs thrown into question: certainty, significance, connection, contribution, and growth. In other words, it's completely natural to feel totally thrown when you face redundancy, as many bright people do. And just to put that in the context of the sort of macro human needs, Abraham Maslow speaks about 5 core parts of human motivation in his hierarchy of needs, the things that motivate human beings. And at the very bottom, you have physiological needs. So that is the basics: having food, water, shelter, a bed to sleep in. So if you think about redundancy, essentially the very fundamentals of what we need to feel motivated are thrown into question because our monkey minds, which are activated by stress, start catastrophizing wildly. Oh my goodness, suddenly I'm a nobody. And those fundamentals are called into question. You feel really under threat. So that activates your fight, flight, or freeze response. Okay, and all those horrible thinking traps come into play: catastrophizing, black and white thinking, maybe even labeling yourself. I'm such a loser. How could I be going through this? I'm meant to be able to look after my family and deliver for them. So it's very natural to feel totally thrown. And above the most basic of Maslow's needs, you have some other core needs that we probably take for granted every single day. So above the basic physiological, we have safety and security. So that's not just having a place to call home, it's also psychological safety, feeling part of something bigger than yourself, like an employee body, for example. We also have love and belonging, which we may take for granted, but we get from having an office to go into or colleagues to connect with. Feeling needed. People need us to be doing work to support something bigger than ourselves, a bigger mission. And of course, work, whether you love it or hate it, tends to hopefully build self-esteem. It gives us a sense of achievement. It builds our confidence, particularly if we're playing to our strengths. We get a sense of recognition and achievement from it. So it's very natural that we would feel the rug is pulled from us at moments of redundancy. And of course, at the very top of Maslow's hierarchy, we have self-actualization, which is being the most that we can be, really fulfilling our greatest potential on earth, really. So there are some genuine fears that are sparked on moments of redundancy, and mental health studies show that if we're unemployed for more than a year, the risk of depression spikes. So I'm not just going to sort of toxically positive some of the really stressful thoughts that we feel at these moments. They are real. However, you knew there was a however coming. In Chinese, the word crisis also means opportunity, and this is much like what Liggy Webb, the thought leader on resilience, calls the probopportunity. So looking for the opportunity in the problem. It's a really nice reframing trick for moments of real stress. And this is something many of my coaching clients are really open to because they have real growth mindsets. They want to look for the opportunity in the problem. So I want to remind anybody out there who is facing redundancy or knows anyone that is, it's a moment of great opportunity because you're being given a window of time and space to reflect on who you are and what you need to be happy. And from there, you can get super intentional about your path forward, whether it's moving into a similar role, a linked role, or in a completely new direction, as many of my clients do. And it is way more possible than you might think when you get clear on what you want, what motivates you, what you're good at, what your strengths are, what your values are, and your wider purpose in life, your higher calling. The latest example would be a fantastic client who came to me in a state of panic, naturally made redundant from a head of marketing role, very prestigious company. She was really panicking at the time. She's now got an amazing job as a chief marketing officer for an even sexier company. So a nice story for you. Just going to wrap up with some inspiring tales of well-known people who went through redundancy or sacking. and who went on to achieve tremendous success. So one, Oprah Winfrey. Okay, we're not a mad fan after the Harry and Meghan interview necessarily, but she was told, get this, that she wasn't very good on TV, and look what she went on to achieve. One of the biggest household names and a billionaire, apparently. Steve Jobs was fired from Apple in the early days, and he made a comeback years later and obviously made it one of the most profitable businesses out there. Of course, we have J.K. Rowling, who, get this, lost her job at Amnesty International because she spent too much time dreaming up stories at her desk. She's now apparently richer than the Queen herself. Then we have Walt Disney, who was told, again, get this, that he lacked imagination, so he was sacked from his cartoonist job. And look what he went on to create with Disney World. And finally, Lady Gaga, who finally thought she'd made it big with a massive record label sponsorship, which she lost. And she went on to become, obviously, one of the biggest music stars out there, with a personal net worth spanning absolute millions. So what's the positive learning here? There is an opportunity in every problem. Think about the opportunity in redundancy. It gives you the time and space to really reflect on who you are and what you want moving forwards.